Jmix here, and I want all my YouTube subs and viewers to know that on September 16th, legendary West Coast hip-hop artist Big Deee has released his long-awaited solo album, T3C, The Third Coming. From track 1 to the outro on track 18, this album is a verified banger. It also has some surprise guests such as Snoop Dogg, DJ Quick, Prodigy, Exhibit, Cocaine, The Outlaws, Superfly, and Goldie Lowe. You can get your copy today by going to Amazon.com and searching Big Deee, The Third Coming, or T3C, or you can check it out on iTunes. The link is going to be down in the subscription. I want all my YouTube subs to support that real West Coast sound with Big Dee's The Third Coming. It's out now, folks, so get your copy today.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
All right, we should be good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, for sure.
All right, before we get started, I just wanted to say, as a fan, there is no question about your authenticity. When we listen to your music, you embody West Coast. You got a lot of rappers today where they say a lot of things and you don't really buy it. When you rap, I'm telling you what, man, there's the authenticity is without a question.
No doubt. I appreciate that, man. Glad y'all can recognize.
No doubt, man. So I guess to start the interview, I'll ask what I ask everybody. Who inspired you musically?
Oh, man. It had to be all the old school rappers, from Sugar Hill Gang, you know what I'm saying, to EPMD, to Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Ice-T, Ice Cube, King T, you know. I had a lot of influences, to be honest.
I know your roots are Mississippi, I believe.
No, I'm actually. I think that's a misprint. That I'm actually from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, shout out to St. Louis. I got family there from there myself.
That's right.
Ain't no joke in Missouri. But what was it like coming up in Long Beach and during that time in the early '90s?
Whew. Man, it was high activity on the gang tip, you know, and you know, the hustling, you know, was still, you know, in its early stages, you know, as far as the crack and things of that nature, you know. So it was full speed ahead, man. You know what I mean? It, you know, when if you was in my line of work, then, you know, you already knew what you had to do to maintain. You know what I mean? So it was self-explanatory. Then was the days of the drive-by, when the drive-bys got implemented, and you know, it was a perilous time in life. But it was fun. I don't know how you put them two together, but that's what it was.
Now, you had done a little bit of time then. Was it before doing that or after that you realized that you had a knack for spitting rhymes?
It was during. I was actually sitting in Chino in Chino Central, and we was me and a lot of my homeboys in there. We was about like 15, 20 deep in there. And, you know what I'm saying? They had a guy there. Oh, let me count this guy as one of my influences too. And my apologies for forgetting him. He's a real solid homie. His name was Snoop from 6'9" East Coast. He had a song called The Crip Rap. And I mean, he named every gang. He named cats from the gang. You know, he named, you know, they you know, certain qualities and, you know, certain incidents that went down. You know, he's like, you know, intimate knowledge of all the hoods in L.A. And I was like, man. I was like, he put that together so clever. You know what I'm saying? I had always had a knack for work. I figured that, you know, if I tried it, I could do it myself.
Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Big C Style?
Yeah, I could.
Just basically how you linked up with him?
Big C Style's birthday is tomorrow, by the way. He just hit me and invited me to his party, to his birthday party having at Cuban Pete. Shout out to Big C Style. I knew Big C Style from being in the game, being in the street life, knowing him since I was like 11, maybe 10, 11 years old. And he's always been a solid dude as far as like his representation, you know, of the city. And, you know, I always had a particular liking to him because he always kept it cheap. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't no scary dude. And his gang was always been the smallest gang on the east side. That's well known. But, you know, the way he pushed, you know, you couldn't tell it wasn't the largest. So, you know, me and him was bonded on that note. And from there on, you know, we got together and hung out one night when I was fresh out of prison. I just did my last bid in '92, and we was out hanging out, drinking. You know, I still drank at that time, and smoking and talking crazy. And he put on a beat in his Cadillac. He put on some music in his Cadillac, and I just started freestyling, you know, and just having fun. And he was like, see, I never knew, you know, you got down like that. I was like, yeah, you know. And, you know, he's like, man, I gotta introduce you to Dog, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'll be messing with Dog. You know, I was like, okay. I was like, okay, cool. I found out who he was. I found out who he was in prison, you know, and I heard that he was he's one of the guys out there on the scene. So I was like, cool, yeah, introduce me to him, man. You know what I mean? And he did a couple of months later, and Dog wound up coming by my house, and, you know, we met like that and went on to do the Murder Was the Case soundtrack, so on and so forth.
Now, at the point that you met Snoop, had you already recorded the song Dropping Bombs?
No, I had. But he didn't have anything to do with me recording that song. Big C Style was instrumental in taking me to Orange County to a cat named Dave Swain. And we got with him, with us and Centrell and one of her friends back then. And, you know, we went to the studio and just created it, you know, on the spot. I had been writing for it, but then he was like, I'm going to bring these little females in to give you some flavor in the background. And then Trell was like, should I spit too? I was like, is that right? So, you know, I let her do her thing, and she did her thing. So, you know, I like, you know, I just left it at that. I left the song the way it was as it turned out. But I was pleased with it. And, you know, next thing I know, Big C Style was telling me, you know, that Russell Simmons had heard it in some kind of way, and, you know, he wanted to premiere it on the show soundtrack. And I was like, man, by all means, that's love, man. Let's do it. So that's how that turned out.
Now, earlier you brought up Murder Was the Case, that soundtrack. According to Big Style, that soundtrack actually stemmed from 5 or 6 tracks that were recorded with you guys and with Snoop at Can-Am. Was 21 Jump Street one of those tracks?
No, it wasn't. I actually think 21 Jump Street was one of the first songs recorded for the soundtrack, but we actually did that at Larrabee. That was actually my first time recording with Snoop and recording in a major studio. And we stopped at Dad's house and got the equipment, and me, Superfly, Daz, I'm sure C-Style was there, and Snoop. We went to Larrabee and we laid it out. And it was a banger. I was astonished myself, like, whew, man, because I had never been in the studio with that level of equipment, and to hear the playback, and realize actually how good it sounded. And people, they was telling me like, oh no, you went on that. Oh, gee, that sounds real good. This, that, and other. Just to receive them kind of props and stuff, man. That really gave me the energy to pursue it on the level that I did.
Now, at the time, did you know that you were recording a track for the soundtrack? Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I knew that. Snoop had told me that they were preparing a soundtrack to a movie, a little mini movie they had shot, and we was do your thing, in other words, like this the chance. Let us see what you do besides writing on them papers in the penitentiaries. Let's see if you can put it on wax and make it sound like it's supposed to. And I appreciated that opportunity. Got eternal love for Snoop just for him putting me on like that. And Big C-Style for walking me to the table.
Now, did this lead to you actually signing to Death Row Records?
Never signed to Death Row Records.
See, that's a common misconception. That's like, even on your Wikipedia page, it said that you were signed.
Yes, I was asked that the other day. I was actually asked that the other day. And no, I never was AP. I never was signed to. Yeah, we never even discussed the contract. It was just I was there in full support of Snoop and the Dog Pound and our clique. Long Beach, representing Long Beach really, and that was pretty much the extent of it with me.
What led to the guest appearances on soundtracks such as The Thin Line Between Love and Hate? Way Too Major from Gang Related, and you're even on the Dogfather album. Now, you're hanging with those guys. You're around them so much. Why do you feel that you were not offered a deal or it was not talked about? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I do, because, I had been locked up with a lot of the security guards who were there with Suge, and they knew my resume, so to speak. And they told Suge, no, that guy right there, he's a real one of their real homeboys. So, I think the business that Suge had in mind to do with people at that time kind of like made him decide that it wouldn't be a good idea to begin that kind of relationship with me because, I don't think I would have set up any, just have all my publishing and all that without really it being an issue. So I think that was the reason.
Well, speaking of Suge, what was your first impression of the guy, and is he the big bad wolf that everybody makes him out to be?
Not at all, man. My first impression of Suge was that he was a massive guy with a hard exterior, a necessary hard exterior, but he's really a likable, fun-loving guy on the inside. But he was put in a position to where he had to push that line and make those moves happen to really get us to where we needed to be as far as hip-hop prominence on the West Coast. I think he had a vision, but I think within that vision that he had visions of self-grandeur as well, which detracted him from having something that could have probably been the greatest thing ever in music to the dilemmas and things that he's going through right now.
Speaking of that, this comment right here is off the record. The on-the-record question would be, how do you feel about his current situation? And do you think, just by the video that we've all seen, that this is anything but a tragic accident?
Man, I'm sure that it was a tragic accident. You know, I can't begin to even pretend like I don't know that. You know, Terry Carter was my the East Siders manager for a period of approximately 2 years before I was incarcerated. And I knew that they were the greatest of friends. You know, I would call and talk to him, and, you know, he'd be like, oh, yeah, that motherfucker should just left being crazy, motherfucker, man. I'm trying to tell his ass this, that, and the other. That motherfucker got his damn mind. You know, they was real good friends, though, and I know Terry Carter had a lot of love for him, so it was definitely a tragic accident.
Do you feel that maybe the police are just out to get Suge? Do you think that plays a part in this? What's going on now with him?
Wow, that's a good question. As far as them being out to get him, I don't know. I think he put that target on his own back. You know what I mean? I that's my thoughts on it. You know what I mean? You know, and at the same time, you know, Suge was doing a whole lot, man. You know what I'm saying? In a whole lot of ways, and you know, he kind of like put that spotlight on himself. So, as far as them out to get him, I just think they seized the opportunity that he provided for him. The same with OJ.
Fair enough. Do you mind if I ask you a couple death row questions?
Not at all.
All right, I appreciate it, man. I talked to a lot of people that have worked there, and they say that there were kind of two different camps at death row. You had Suge's people and Dog Pound, and that there was kind of a noticeable separation of the camps. Does this statement have any validity in your experience, and were there any tensions between the two camps?
Well, yeah, it has validity. It has validity, and I can say that you could definitely notice the separation of the camps. However, you know, when it was business to be handled, and you know, gatherings to be attended and things of that nature, you know, it was like, you know, you had to really be a G to be around that environment, because, you know, it would be a whole lot of, you know, innuendos dropped, and, you know, hints of disrespect depending on your level of respect and how you take it and how you respond to it. You know, I remember a particular dice game that we had at Jack the Rapper when me and Big Y became friends. He was from the Young Soldiers then. Big Y, actually, he's from the Relatives, the group The Relatives now, him and Sugar Booger. But we was in a big dice game. It was probably about like 12, 13 blood. You know, me, Big C-Style was in there. Big C-Style was going to have a fight with one young guy who was kind of like running off at the mouth. And, you know, they squashed it. You know, his people was like, nah, you know, he ain't, you know, he kind of like going overboard. Let us talk to him. Let us handle it. Because C-Style was really ready to get busy. You know what I'm saying? All respect to, I don't put no extras on nobody's G hand. But it you know, it got tense real quick. And so they squashed it. And I was shooting dice next to Big Y, and he was like, you know, bet I 6-8, blood, bet I 6-8, blood, bet I 6-8, blood, bet I bet. Then I straight bitch, you know, and saying the word, the B word for the C word. And I looked over at him, and he just cracked a quick smile, and then, you know, kept on with it. I said, okay, I see you with me. All right, so I went into my crib lingo, and, you know, we got real cool after that point because he seen, you know, a buster, as we call him, you know what I'm saying, would be intimidated by being around so many of the opposition per se, you know, with the mentality that they are the opposition, you know, and not just a crew that we was all moving with. See, we didn't think like that. Like I said at the outset, it was the crew we was moving with. When we was moving with Pac and, you know, MC Hammer and, you know, whoever it was, you know what I'm saying? Whoever came out to parlay with Suge and the Dog Pound and Snoop, then that's how we moved. You know what I mean? We was moving as a unit to accomplish whatever mission that we was on, and it was like whatever came in opposition to us, we was facing it as a team. So no, it wasn't animosity like that, you know. But you could tell the difference.
Now, for the last 15, 20 years, one of the biggest things that people talk about when they talk about Death Row Records in that whole era are artist punishments or Suge treating stars a certain way. Those are his words. Did you ever see anybody act out of place at Death Row Records and get dealt with?
No, I never actually seen that for myself. Not at all. I didn't.
No doubt, and I'm not trying to get you to speak on anybody, but I would.
No, I didn't. I didn't. If I did, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember. You know, Baby John got beat down for some bullshit he did at Whoopie Whoop Whoop. You know, what I mean, I would just put nobody on just dumb blast like that if they was cool. But if it was just an incident that, you know, that people already understood what it was and how it was present in, I wouldn't have no problem speaking on it. But, you know, seriously, as it stands now, I can't call nobody, you know, getting dealt with. I remember they tried to snatch Warren G's chain in there. They tried to take Warren G's G-Funk chain. You know, a couple of guys that snatched it off his neck and, you know, thought that was going to be the end of it, you know, which, of course, it wasn't. You know, it was like, you know, and C-Style was the one who put us up on what was going down and, like, you know, I'm finna go in here and this was happening and, you know, if it go down, homie, y'all know what it is. So, no, Big C-Style was really pushing the hard line for the Dog Pound and all that. He was until I came on with him, he was pretty much the main line pusher over there. You know what I mean? And, you know, I can't do nothing but give him all the props that he deserves for, you know, for holding that position there.
No doubt Warren G got his chain back too, didn't he?
Of course he did. We wouldn't have left there unless he got his chain back. We don't get down like that. Shit, we don't get down like that. No.
Now, recently on Vlad TV, you spoke about being one of the people that were shot at during the New York video shoot.
Mm-hmm.
What was that over?
What was that? Oh, shit, they had perceived that as being disrespect, which it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? You know, we wasn't going out there on no disrespect, you know. But Biggie had called in, and you know, it just went somewhere it shouldn't have went. You know what I'm saying? And you know, people responded, and that's what it was. I wound up having to talk to the people out there to, you know, to like let them know, we didn't come out here for all that, but you know, if y'all want to take it further than this, man, it's gonna get real ugly. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they kind of understood what it was, and you know, we just left it at that. So nothing ensued really after that. You know what I'm saying? It was a good thing. It was actually, you know, the ability for level heads to prevail at that time. It was a good thing.
Well, a lot of people seem to think that it was just random shots into a trailer, but you were very close to getting shot yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They came right through the trailer while we was in there smoking. Snooker just got up, came and passed me the weed, and, yeah, it went bad fast. It went bad fast. But, no, you know, it was what it was, man. You know what I mean?
No doubt. A friend of mine who recently passed, a man named Frank Alexander, was security that day. Do you credit him with saving your guys' lives?
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely. Security definitely saved our lives that day. But at the same time, you know, it was the quick thinking of, you know, understanding that shots was coming through the trailer as well. And, you know, at the second shot, the first shot came through the window, and it was just like and you really couldn't imagine because, you know, the next building was so far away. We was like in Red Hook. You really couldn't, it really wasn't anything close by to be sniping at. So when the next shot came through, you know, as like I said, when Snoop walked over to hand me the blunt, I said, oh, they shoot. And we got down, and like no more than like 15 seconds later, you know, security bust in and told us to stay low and pulled the man right up next to the trailer, hustled us out, and got us to safety. So, you know, they did what they were supposed to do. Shout out to all the securities who was there then and did their part.
So when you guys get back to California, what was Suge's reaction?
I don't even know if he had a reaction. I mean, you know, he wasn't there. Suge wasn't. If Suge was there, he wasn't on the video set for sure. So no, when everybody was getting flights back and stuff like that, I don't even really recall whether Suge was out there. He could have been, but yeah, I don't.
I'm speaking more of the reaction of the fact that, you know, death row artists were being shot at, and, you know, you guys, when you leave New York and get back to California, if, you know, that's a big issue. If, you know, there were a lot of people pissed off about it.
Well, we pretty much left that alone, kind of like after it went down, because it was like, you know, it was a mistake, you know, the situation was taken out of context, and you know what I'm saying, you know, we didn't really choose to pursue it beyond that, you know what I mean? So it was kind of left as pretty much as a dead issue.
May I ask how you first met Tupac?
I met Tupac in the studio at Can-Am, and he was recording something with the Outlaws, and I went in the studio, and I was with Snoop, and they came and got me, and we rolled off from my house, so, you know, no one had weed, and I didn't have any when they picked me up, and they hadn't got none, so we were supposed to call the weed man when we got to the studio, and Pop was sitting there with his blunt, you know, in his hand, and it was like, you know, I said, Pop, you gonna blaze that up, or what's happening? You know, and he was like, oh yeah, shit, give me a light, man, what's happening? So, shit, I gave him a light, and me and him wound up taking the whole blunt to the head. We didn't pass nobody else nothing. I said, this is my nigga right here.
Now, because he's become such a legend in the rap game, probably due to his hits and his untimely death, what do you think today that people's biggest misconception is about Tupac? What do they get wrong about the guy?
That's a good question. I think they get missed. No, I mean, because I really had to, ponder that question, man. I'm not the kind of person that just, that got a ready answer for everything. My lips don't operate like that, and my mind don't play games like that. Really, what I'm thinking is probably that he was just this super wild, do anything, thoughtless kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? That he was a reactionary, and he was far from that. He was a very, very intelligent individual, and I think that he just wanted to be known, like a lot of us, that success doesn't really. It shouldn't change you, and it shouldn't make you not empathize and sympathize with the struggle that you elevated from. You know what I'm saying? If that's part of you, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't act like it doesn't live inside of you still. You know what I mean? And I think that's why he did a lot of the things he did, just to let it be known that he was a man of the people. You know what I'm saying? And he was gonna stay a man of the people. And I think people have it misconstrued that he did all this for attention and all this. I don't think that's what it was for at all. I think he just had a passion for everything that he did.
Great answer. And I can completely respect the fact that you give a well-thought-out answer.
Right.
I got to ask you about Out the Moon, the song that you did with him.
Right.
Now, some people claim that song was pre-recorded and he just came in after the fact and threw a verse on it. Is that the case, or did he record that while everybody else was?
Actually, he did come in and he filled a space on there from somebody who was initially on there that decided that he didn't want to be a part of what we had going on anymore, and he was starting to have a lot of confrontation with Snoop, and Snoop just said, you know what, I'm cool on this, you know what I mean? And he from that point we left and came back, and it was like, check this out, y'all. You know what I mean? It was like, what? You know what I mean? And but we was all in the studio. We was messing with each other at the time, so it wasn't like we didn't have a relationship, to where he didn't know who he was getting down with and all that, because I performed on stage with him, at the House of Blues, and I had a lot of good times with Pac on a few different occasions. So it was like he was in the studio to me, because when I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, he gave it to us. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of House of Blues, how crazy was that show?
Oh, man, I don't know if he had just. I think he was just recently home. When we did that show, I think he had just recently touched down, because he was still wild with the shirt off, with the with the Outlaws running behind him, and they doing their thing. They were young teenagers, wild. Shout out to the Outlaws, man. I got Mage Love there. Just did a song and a video with Young Noble and Edie the Don for my album called Dirty Outlaws with the Dirty OGs. So it's like, man, it was a wonderful experience for me, because I was like, man, but he wasn't even. You got to understand, he wasn't the legend then that he is now, but he was still legendary. His temperament. The way he. The way he pushed. You know what I'm saying? His persona. His. it was there then, but he hadn't dropped the all eyes on me hadn't went to where it went to at that time. It wasn't there yet. So, it was like, he was just like the homie, man. And then, to see him in his element, having the ball, back on the streets, what I'm saying, feeling like the world was his, what I'm saying, which it was at that time, I mean, it was, it was a beautiful thing, man. It was a beautiful thing, man.
I want to ask you a little bit about Jake Robles.
Oh, yeah, man, Big Jake.
Not a lot has been spoken about him as the person. You knew him, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your fondest memory of him, and do you feel that his shooting is what sparked the East versus West Coast beef?
Damn. Well, my fondest memory of him is that he was just a good dude, man. Every time I seen him, he always had the same laid back, calm demeanor. You know what I'm saying? It could be 50 Bloods, or it can be him by himself, and he's the same person. You know what I'm saying? Never extra out. You know what I'm saying? But always firm and solid. I met him, during the whole experience with Death Row. So I had known him previously. I had known a couple of other guys who worked with Suge prior to that. But I met him then, and he was just a cool guy, man. You know what I'm saying? I knew Mossberg. Mossberg was one of his little homies, and he was a solid dude, man. I give him a lot of props just for being a solid dude, man. And I never caught him on no BS. But as far as that sparking the East-West beef, there was just so much going on right then, man. And, the struggle for power, and the desire to be that main cat on the scene, shining and doing your thing, man. That's something that plagues hip hop, man, and plagues people in general. So I wouldn't necessarily attribute that whole that one incident to the whole war, but I'm sure that it had something to do with it. I'm sure that it had something to do with the intensity of which it played out.
The incident that took place at the Soul Train Awards, do you remember if this was before or after that shooting?
I don't. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I can't say that I do.
A lot of people have told a lot of different stories about it. Is it true that Tupac and Suge came in with 60 to 80 people when they rushed Bad Boy?
No, well, they had left. They had left before we did. So by the time we pulled up, I had me and Snoop went up there together. We had stopped by his he had a penthouse on Wilshire, and we had stopped by the penthouse, and I remember that night well because I was driving Rolls Royce. So by the time we pulled up, the story was being told about, they took off running, you know what I'm saying, this happened and that happened, and, it was like, damn, we were just sitting there and all, like, damn, what? Oh, we missed that. But we went there and had fun, and, it didn't really transmit beyond that. It didn't transmit beyond that. We went back, laughed about it. They was talking shit. wherever we wound up being that night. I forgot what me and Stu was. You know, it was just a laugh at the end. We wasn't actually present when it went down.
Now, one of the people that seemed to stay neutral during that whole thing, and I'm saying seemed in public perception, was Nate Dogg. Can I ask you what it was like to work with Nate Dogg?
Man, Nate was my friend. You know what I mean? You know, he's my friend. I went twice. I went to what city is that? Clarksdale, Mississippi. You know, I went out there a couple of times with him to see his family, you know, and you know, just hang out with him. So, you know, we had a relationship beyond the music, you know, and whenever we did music, you know, it's funny because when he did his first album, he called me. Just, you know, the only way you knew if Nate liked you or not was if he talked to you directly, because you couldn't tell in the setting of other people because Nate be in his own world. Nate was Nate Dogg all the time. He was just, you know, this is me, you know, and nobody else really matters right now because I'm that nigga. I mean, before he was that nigga, you know what I'm saying? He had that attitude. And, you know, I had a lot of respect for Nate Dogg. Anytime we did music, you know, he like I said, the first time when he called me to do a song, he was like, Trey, he was like, I'm doing a bag of weed. You know, he's like, I'm doing a song, I'm doing my album up here. Why don't you come get on the song I got called Bag of Weed? And I was like, damn. You know, I was like, damn, I didn't even know Nate really, you know, I didn't even know really he with me like that, to be honest. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn. I was like, okay, cool. Went through Paramount or one of those studios. I think it was Paramount right there on Sunset and Vine, somewhere around there. But went there and we did the Bag of Weed song, and you know it came out dope. And I was like, you know, this is my partner, man. I said, man, I'm with Nate, man. Nate a cool dude. So, you know, that was awesome. You know, I love making music with Nate. I'd go by his house sometime and he'd be working on something. And he'd be like, man, get on this for me, Trey. You know what I mean? And, you know, it was just like that. You know what I mean? It was just like that, man. That was my boy. I got stupid love for Nate, man.
I feel personally that he doesn't get the shine that he deserves. He's been on monster hits and collaborated with a lot of people, and Nate Dogg was one of those people that could say the dirtiest line, but sing it in a way that was almost a love song.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. That's real. You ain't never lied about that.
2 more Death Row songs, and then I had some questions from the board that wanted to know about your future releases, if that's okay.
Okay.
This one's deep, and if you don't feel like answering, I understand. Do you feel that Tupac was killed due to representing or dabbling in the gang lifestyle instead of focusing on just his art?
Yeah, I do. But at the same time, you know, I believe that, you know, he did it out of just his you know, his loyalty to the people that he rocked with. You know what I mean? It was just, he exhibited loyalty. He exhibited loyalty, you know, and everything almost that he did. You know, I know that was pretty much it. You know, that's how he wound up, getting caught up like that. But, you know, he wouldn't just stick with music. He wouldn't be Tupac if he wasn't connected with the struggle and connected with, the things that go on in the streets. You know, that's Pac. You know what I'm saying?
What do you say to people who claim that Suge Knight was involved?
Shut the up with all that conspiracy theory ass shit. You have no idea, no clue, no proof, no idea about, and just let it go, man. If you don't know, let it go, or don't offer unfounded ideas and opinions about what could and what may be, because, you know what I'm saying, that just perpetuates nonsense and bull. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Kind of talking about Suge and his situation, you have recently done a bit of a stretch yourself. What is it like to face over 100 years in prison?
Man, that's probably about the scariest feeling that a person could ever encounter, you know, in this lifetime. You know, it's like, man, am I going to be able to mount the necessary defense, you know, to extricate myself from this situation? And, you know, will I be another statistic, you know, that didn't deserve all these years, to wind up with, 1,000 years, or, whatever the situation. So, it's very, very scary. And if you have no support, it can be very demoralizing.
What got you through those times, and did you get support from people on the outside?
I got support from the outside, most definitely. And what got me through it really is because I had already been through it. I had already been through it before, and I knew that it was a test. It was a test of me, going to stand strong or break. You know what I'm saying, and would I be able to really stand on the faith that I proclaim to have, and really be able to withstand, the pressure that I was under at that time.
Is there any silver lining to doing time? Do you take anything away from that is positive out of such a negative place?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the investment of time. It's the same as on the street. You know what I'm saying? It's your investment of time. If you in there, trying to, be the hard guy on the line, and you know what I'm saying, the killer in the bunch, and Mr. Set It Off and all that, then you gonna get what you're looking for, and it's usually not gonna be good. However, if you invest your time in, becoming a better person first and foremost, you have to do your own rehabilitation. You can't wait for prison to rehabilitate you. You have to get started on yourself, and the solitude that it provides enables you to be able to do that. If you really looking for a way to not be a part of the recidivism rate, and be a part of the households, be a part of contributing to households without any black fathers, which is an awful thing that we face by this mass incarceration that they constantly inflict on us out here in the United States. While proclaiming, it's such a great place to be. Of course it is for them, because they make all the rules and enforce all the laws. However, getting back to the statement, man, I get fired up about this. getting back to the statement I was going to make, to the question that you asked, the silver lining is the investment of your time, and the investment of your time. If you choose to, read books and, get a better spiritual connection, with the Almighty, or you want to take that time to, grow in other areas that the opportunity that I said that the solitude provides you, then, you should emerge at least a more wiser person than you went in. And with wisdom, you're able to navigate around obstacles that theretofore present that you weren't able to understand or be able to circumvent based on the fact that you had no knowledge on how to defeat those obstacles. So, yeah, the silver lining is in how you invest your time and what you invested in.
Do you have a message for the youth that look up, not just to you, but to their favorite artists or their favorite rappers? Do you have a message to them that feel that it's somewhat of a rite of passage to do a bit in prison? Do you have a message for those people?
Man, yeah, I mean, shit, man, look at them photo books, man. Your uncle got right there, your dad or your cousin or something like that, man. All them people standing around with muscles and shit posing next to each other in prison. You can't even look forward to that shit no more because they just took the weight up out of there. So you're not going to go in there and get big and buff and have people scared of you when you come home and all that. If that's, that you still looking for that kind of motivation, we really need to mature first and foremost. It's nothing glamorous about prison. Prison used to be a rite of passage for those in the street life and, that was out there putting in that work because, a lot of people wondering, is you just a pistol gangbanger? Can you survive, with the hand-to-hand warrior stage? So it was looked at as a rite of passage at one point in time. But in this day and age, in prison, I just got out of there a couple of years ago, you have a bunch of drug addicts like you have out here. You have a bunch of young drug addicts that's not being able to pay their debts in prison, and they getting their whole car, their whole city, their whole set involved in drug transactions that they had nothing to do with and that they have to take care of when this person has been and lied to everybody that he knows to get money. Oh, they going to kill me. I broke this guy's TV and I got to pay for it and this, that. They told all the lies to all their girlfriends, mamas, aunties, and all that. And now the shit hit the fan, and now they got to stand up, and everybody got to get involved behind some junkie who couldn't control his addiction, which you can't because it is an addiction, and now everything is in an uproar behind bull, as opposed to, it used to be more serious matters taking place. One good thing now is that I just talked to one of my homeboys in there, and they said they was letting a lot of the brothers out and a lot of the Chicanos out that's been locked up in those SHU programs, the secure housing unit programs for the last 25, 30 years with those indeterminate SHU sentences and stuff like that. They're now starting to let those guys out, and those guys are coming back to the line, and as opposed to the line being the main line, and as opposed to those guys getting back on the main line like they used to and start politicking and, starting, racial tension and things like that, I was told they was out there having softball games, with each other and, just really chilling and, dialoguing and things like that. So, it's not the big bad penitentiary anymore. People want to get out. People have been in there way too long, being too much time for too little shit. You know what I'm saying? And they're not trying to spend the rest of their life in there no more. So if you think you want to go in there and be loped out, all this bullshit, you're going to get the brakes put on you as soon as you walk through the door because ain't nobody really pushing that line no more. Motherfuckers want to come home. So cut it out. And take some skinny-ass jeans and T-shirts off.
Great line. Great line. I'd like to ask you about the current situation and the atmosphere with the police brutality. Do you feel that people are finally starting to wake up to it? And do you think that there's ever going to be a resolution?
Well, the resolution, I believe, is coming out now. Yes, people waking up to it because, you know, with the advent of cell phones, a lot of these things are being exposed that were blinded, you know, to the people before, you know, because no one knew what was going on in small town Kentucky. But, you know, now everybody can see it and everybody can have an unbiased opinion on what they see with their own eyes. And, you know, now I believe, you know, it's coming to the forefront. And I believe a lot more white people and other races are appalled by what they see happening to, you know, a lot of the young black men just getting shot down for, you know, many of them for no cause and no reason whatsoever. And, you know, I think that is waking people up to the fact that we need solidarity and we need more security upon ourselves, you know, and amongst ourselves. So, yeah, I think that, I think that we'll see change and we'll see more interaction with the people and with law enforcement when they get the message that, you know what, we're not scared of y'all, and, you know, we're not savages. Don't depict us and play us to be savages anymore. Once they get that message and they begin to treat people with more respect, because it was once upon a time, police knew everybody in the community. I remember when I was younger, I knew police names. Well, I was a bad dude. I was going to jail and stuff, so that was probably why. But they used to patrol the neighborhoods and stuff, and you would see these police. You would see these police, and you know they would know your name. You know they know your brother and know this. Man, they putting these people in our community now. They don't know us. They don't want to know us. They scared of us. You know, and they don't give a damn about us. So, you know, with that mindset going in, how are you going to serve and protect somebody? You're going to serve them in the wrong way, and you're going to protect the lies that you tell to keep your job. You know, so it's a blue wall and all that. Now, you know, when this last recent get back that took place, you know, they see that it's going to be consequences really to, you know, to their actions, and they take account of that, and, you know, really start treating us like they should, you know, as, you know, help us out, man. Don't be here. You know, I know we ain't saints and nothing in the ghetto and all that, but, you know, this is happening in ghettos, outside of ghettos, everywhere. So my thing is this: the way you treat us and the way you respond to us, that's what we're going to give you back. That's what kind of people we are. You know what I'm saying? And I was saying, you know, I believe so many races is getting fed up with this now because it's so visible. You know what I mean? And ain't nobody really cool. No righteous person is cool with nobody being oppressed and violated and slated for extermination. You know, and that's what they're doing with these mass incarceration. You know, with this, you know, rampant unemployment, all that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we struggle so hard just to maintain, you know, a sense of any kind of status in the urban community, that we don't be mindful of a lot of these things that's taking place because, you know, you're not getting no proper education in school, so you damn near got to go to prison to learn some shit or be around some motherfuckers that went to prison to teach you some shit, to teach you what you really supposed to know. You know, what the fuck knowing about what Columbus supposed to do gonna get you somewhere when you come to find out he ain't did a motherfucking thing but came and claimed the same shit that was already here, like me walking in your living room saying I discovered your TV and your coffee table. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, it's a lot of things that need to change in this society, and you know, police are agents of the government, so this is just a reflection of how the government feels about the people.
Can I ask your opinion on certain rappers like Little Bootsy coming out and basically calling for violence against police. Is that a solution, or do you think that causes more problems?
It's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's frustration being voiced, and you gotta respect that. If that's how he feels, he has the right to express that. And, you know, if people want to follow him, then they identify with his frustration. But at the same time, you know, we need a better plan than just let's go kill them.
All right, I got a couple from the boards, man, and I know you're a busy guy. I'll let you go. The people on Dub C, they want to know when the Dirty OGs album is dropping.
Dirty OGs album dropping about October. You know, we just did our cover last week, and yes, you know, we got like 5 videos prepared to launch. We're gonna do a mini movie for it, and it's gonna be that new G shit over here on the West. My album drops the end of next month. Big Trade Deee, the third coming.
Is there a new Eastsiders project coming out?
Right now, you know, the members have different interests right now, and it doesn't seem like we all have time to get together and make it a reality, so it's not on the horizon right now.
Where can fans go if they want to holler at, you know, Big Trade Deee? Can you give us some links to social media? And
damn, I just put my website up yesterday too. I don't even know the motherfucking website. Ain't that something? But yeah, you can damn sure catch me on Instagram at big_Trade Deee, and you holler at me about anything productive, progressive, constructive. You know, you don't necessarily have to agree with me or see the way I see it, but if it's intelligent, you know, and I had a time, I definitely exchange some dialogue with you on it, and really for that forum. More importantly, if you have anything on a political bent or, you know, anything that has to do with the advancement of the people, you can hit me on Twitter at Big Trade Deee, BIGTRAYDEEE, and that's big_Trade Deee, TRAYDEEE on Instagram. Can't recall my Facebook. Like I said, just put my website up yesterday, so you know I'm sure you'll be able to find it. If you with me, you can go there, see some fly pictures, nice videos. You know, understand everything I got coming up. You know, and thank everybody out there for supporting me all these years, man. Much love.
Yeah.